What's up, YouTube? It's Xavier on the Hill here today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Watch out for more content and videos. Forgive me if I've been off for a little bit. I've been taking care of some other personal stuff, with some family issues and all that. But anyways, back to it. I just got out of the movie theaters watching the Superman movie with David Cornswet and Nicholas Holt and a bunch of other cast members in there too. I forgot their names, but etc., etc. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. This is definitely the movie I would buy for DVD. I would come back and watch it a second time, and a third time. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I'll say 100 out of 100. Whichever way you want to scale or rank this movie, this is probably one of the best iterations of Superman in a long time. This Superman with David Cornswet, it actually felt like the original Superman. It made him feel powerful. It made him feel, somebody you could rely on. And it also had those moments where he was vulnerable, he was sad. He was, even got angry. And it's just amazing overall. The camera work, the cinematography, even the Justice Gang, aka the Justice League, with Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, and even Mr. Terrific. Even their actors were incredible actors. Even their cast was incredible. With the Green Lantern, with I forgot the actor who plays him, Nathaniel, I think his name is, or something like that. He did a great job on Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, because he got the mannerisms and even just the character of Hal Jordan down, or together. The arrogance, the cockiness, and even the always flashing that he's a Green Lantern, and everything else. From even the I don't know the actress who plays Hawk Girl, I forgot her name, but she even did a great job on that. Where that one part in the movie where she's just, where she says, "I'm not Superman," and it kind of shows you that even though the Justice League, even though they're heroes, it doesn't, or in this case, the Justice Gang, as they call themselves in the movie, or as Green Lantern calls them, that they're still, they're still their own people. They still have their own ways of solving issues, of dealing with certain situations. Even with Mr. Terrific, the actor who plays him, incredible, from his stoicness to where he says he's not interested in people's emotions, to even the voice just alone gives you something to work with. It's truly amazing, because even the actress who plays Lois Lane, she did an amazing job especially with the interview scene with Superman, where she's hitting him with the hardball questions, which we've all seen from the trailer. But when I actually saw that scene in the movie theater, I was locked in, eyes glued on the screen. It was amazing. It was freaking amazing. I'm starting to sweat because it's really getting hot in here. But anyway, David Cornswet as Superman. People were saying, this might be the closest thing to a Keanu Reeves or a Zack Snyder Justice League Superman that, we've gotten for a minute. And I agree, because this David Cornswet, even from his voice changing to even the camera shots where he's looking beaten up, bloodied, battered, bruised, it's just amazing. Even just the body language which he carries himself from, even his interactions with Crypto. We're gonna talk about that in a minute, along with another superhero at the end of the movie, which we see. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute as well. But David Cornswet, if I'm saying his name right, David Cornswet. I hope I'm saying this. I'm just say David for right now, but David, he does a great job as Superman. And it's just, even just his physique. We have to talk about this man's physique. His physique especially captures Superman. I'm not just talking about his outfit. I'm talking about the face, the hair, the muscle tone. Even when he's like, as he's expressing himself to his father in that one scene in the movie. This is spoilers for anybody who's watching. So, I should have probably let that. I probably should have. I'll put that in the title of the video. But anyways, even that scene where he's sitting down with his father talking about how he's always been how he's always been taught to value, cherish life as it is, even when he's fighting that big kaiju, where he was saying he wish he could have put in a galactic zoo or something like that. Sorry guys, it's a little hot in here. But anyway, even like little stuff like that is amazing. It gives you a little bit more in depth on the character, on the character of what Superman's supposed to be. And even when the people are celebrating him, from when he's even crashing down from fighting the Bavaria superhuman, metahuman. I forgot the name already. Jeez, but when he's fighting the Bavaria, you guys know what I mean. When he's fighting the other metahumans, from the engineer to the other two the supervillains, even when he's fighting like that clone of himself, which is pretty cool, by the way. That was actually a pretty nice touch they added in there. It's even where he's doing that was amazing. I will also say that Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor, that man, he acted his butt off as Lex Luthor. He captured Lex Luthor's, not just arrogance, but how Lex Luthor, his jerkiness, how he doesn't care about others. He cares about his own image, to where he's even capturing Lex Luthor's even comedic effect, where he knocks the cup down, tells his workers to pick them up, and he knocks it down again, tells them to pick it up. And how he even just insults some of his workers by saying, calling them an idiot or whatever. And even Superman, and even insults Superman by saying, and especially with that one quote, brains beats brawn. I want to talk about Crypto as well. That's what I'm about to get into now. Well, that's how I was talking about it earlier. But Crypto, but the dog who played Crypto is actually pretty good. He's from what I remember watching Crypto as a young kid, back in elementary, back in pretty much Head Start practically. It was amazing seeing just even little stuff like Crypto, stuff like that, and Jimmy Holston, and it was just amazing, man. One thing I want to get into is just the theme overall of the movie. The theme, it really captures the essence of not just Superman, but just heroes in general. Like, they're looked to as these people you can rely on, not just to get you out of a tight spot, but to help you to be there when all the other chips are when all the chips are down and everything. You can rely on somebody. That's superheroes for you, and that's Superman, especially how that one guy, he helped Superman up in the beginning of the movie by giving him some, when he mentioned he gave Superman some free food, like food, Malik, I think his name was, or something like that. I forgot, guys. Jeez, I'm kind of pacing through my thoughts here. They're kind of jumbled up. But it's also where, Lex Luthor used him as a pawn to try to get Superman to reveal the information that he wanted. It ultimately failed, but even stuff like that. To where even Superman has this powerful quote message he gives to Lex Luthor. I'm one of the most human, meta-human superheroes ever. I feel ashamed. I get scared. We even saw Superman get hurt. Like, James Gunn I think he even claimed and said Superman would get hurt in the movie. Because there were moments where we even thought Superman was down and out for the count. Or maybe, he thought maybe this is too much for him to handle on his own. Even with the engineer and the clone, he still proved he's Superman. He was even trying to get them in that one instance where he was trying to convince the engineer, you're better than this. You don't have to do what Luthor says. He sees, and it's another thing Lois Lane says in the movie. He sees everybody as precious and pretty. He just values life. to even where at the end of the movie we see Lex Luthor, he's crying because he's finally exposed, because he wanted to build, as and like I said, spoilers, but he wanted to build a utopia because he believed, ultimately he believed in human dominance, human superiority over metahumans, because he sees them as a complete disorder of the natural order, I guess you could say. He even mentions like Galilee and other historical name or historical, fictional names or something like that. One of my favorite parts of the movie, I'm gonna go ahead and mention, is probably the one scene where Superman, he's confronting Lex Luthor right after he defeats the engineer and right after he defeats the clone, the Superman clone, or where he crashed into Lex Luthor core, and he's giving Lex Luthor this speech, because he's basically letting Lex Luthor know, because he's basically telling Lex Luthor, you're a hypocrite. He's telling Lex Luthor, you claim I'm arrogant, you claim I'm cocky, you claim that I'm not human, but Superman, he says, like I just mentioned, he feels human at points. He feels scared. He feels ashamed, even from when early on in the movie where he edited that message of Superman's parents, what they delivered to him when he was a baby on crash landing on Earth. That was amazing too, because we actually saw Superman, like his whole, like we see even just the camera shot of Superman just walking into the freaking building where he just basically feels defeated. How can we say that? Can you ever say that much about Superman, where he actually feels defeated, or even looks defeated in that case, which is pretty freaking amazing. Another thing, and I'm getting towards the end, so don't even worry. One of the last few things I want to talk about is towards the ending of the movie, obviously, with the villains, or not the villains, but the one of the major plot holes was ultimately the prison where Lex Luthor built, which ultimately built a rip in the space-time continuum, and whatever, it was splitting the Earth apart. That was actually a good plot device right there. I actually thought I thought going in that the plot device was going to be Lex Luthor himself being the main villain, which he is. But, he's also one of the main threats, but it's also where, that little small plot device of, the whole Earth ripping apart, that was actually a cool thing they added. As well as, some other stuff where the other president of another country working together with Lex Luthor, basically trying to get to expose the Justice Gang, or aka the Justice League, and stuff like that. I also love the little humorous comedy parts where Jimmy Olsen, Lex Luthor's ex-girlfriends, and even like the little small, sorry guys, it is freaking hot, but even like the little small parts where Superman, with Superman and Crypto, where Crypto just basically, he's being a bro. He was being a bro. I would say that he's a badass dog, bro. I see why Superman has Crypto, and Crypto got Superman, bro. And Superman's like, that's a bit of a foster situation kind of thing. He was explaining to Lois. That was amazing. And when the Justice League were out there fighting the Space Imp, and Lois and Superman were just having a conversation and stuff like that. That was amazing. Now this is the last thing I'm gonna talk about. Towards the end, I think it's the end credits. One thing I want to talk about, that one end credit where Superman and Crypto are just kind of staring out, into space a little bit, and Superman's getting worked on in the Fortress of Solitude. And we see somebody crash land in there, and we see it's Supergirl. If you guys don't know, and this might be, this isn't a spoiler for anybody, but if you guys don't know, a Supergirl movie is actually also coming out. And I think the actress who plays Supergirl is Millie Alcock or something like that. I think, I might be wrong. I think James Gunn, he's also going to be helping with that movie. And he said it's going to be a bit of a mess compared to Superman, which, it's understandable. But even like little stuff like that, where we kind of see, we kind of, get a hint. Maybe they'll be in the same. Maybe it'll be one and the same, because we see her and Superman have already been acquainted with one another. And we see her crashing into the Fortress of Solitude, and her and Crypto just basically roughhousing. And Superman jokes around, talk about she loves to get drunk and party on other planets. That part was actually pretty hilarious. Another thing I want to talk about was how another scene was Mr. Terrific and Superman were basically when they put the building back together, he was like, it's a little off, and Mr. Terrific's like, are you serious, man? He just walks off. But overall, this movie, I'll give it 5 to 10 stars. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Probably out of the Christopher Reeve, Zack Snyder, Henry Cavill, Zack Snyder's, and this one, out of all the ones I've seen, this one probably is right up there. It might be early to say, but I'd say it's right up there with Christopher Reeve's Superman, reiteration of Superman. Because for a character like Superman to be a symbol of hope, to be, somebody you can rely on, somebody, who we look to as this perfect image, this perfect being, but it turns out he's not so perfect. That's where this movie does a good job of showing it. Overall, the movie was fantastic. There wasn't one scene where I wasn't locked eyes on with the screen. It was amazing, man. It's just freaking incredible. I know a Supergirl, like I said, Supergirl movie's coming out. I'm glad they're going to do a Supergirl movie, because I don't even think I've even seen the TV show, to be honest with you. I don't think I've seen Supergirl Legions of Superheroes, with the Tomorrowverse, but I've never seen a live-action Supergirl movie. I'm actually interested to see how they're going to do that. Are they going to make it the same as Superman, or are they just going to, but what James Gunn said, it's going to be a bit of a mess. But anyways, ultimately, the movie was freaking fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys actually come out and see this in theaters. There's already been, I think, premiere times where they've already shown the movie like a day, like yesterday or today. But if you guys want to come out and watch this, come in your Superman gear. Come and watch it. It's amazing. It's freaking fantastic. And like I said, I would watch this. If you guys want to come back and watch it a second, third time, maybe even a fourth or fifth time, I don't know. Maybe you guys want to wait till it comes out on DVD and buy it and keep it. Like I said, the movie, chef's kiss. So if that's not all, once again, like I say, like, comment, subscribe, even share the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. God bless you. Everybody keep safe and have a nice day.